Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. What is going on, traders? Johnny back with another video. Today is Friday, January 30th, 2026. It is 10 o'clock my time, and I wanted to jump on here to showcase any trades I might take or anything like that today. Kids obviously woke up sick, so we've kind of been doing some of that. Just sickness is just going around, just continuing to go around in full circle. They get sick, then I get sick, then they get sick, then it goes back to me, then the wife gets sick. It's been a crazy month of January, to say the least. So I'm excited to be here with you all. I really don't want to miss these days. Even if I'm late showing up, I still want to make sure that I'm providing quality content for you, late or not late. So Bitcoin pushing up. Looks like it's trading within this little range session right here right now, kind of hovering between like 82.5 and I'd say around 83.4, something like that, pretty close to 83.5. So we're going to need to see a breakout between these levels for Bitcoin to push higher or to sell off more. But yeah, I mean, there was an incredible sell-off yesterday, a big time sell-off yesterday from 90,000 on January 28th. That's what started it. Tried to push back up yesterday at market open and immediately got rejected and pushed all the way down to $81,000 as of about 7:30 last night. Now it seems to be kind of flatlining, trying to push up, trying to hold above this moving average so it can go back up to retest that 90,000. But overall, this has been doing pretty much the same thing. Nothing's really changed. It touched $80,000 as a support right here. So if I were to, like, say, take these away, you can see very clearly that there's a range of about 80,000 to about 98,000, and that's kind of the range that it's been stuck in right now, which is great. I mean, I'm glad it bounced off of 80,700. Looks like yesterday it bounced off about 81,000, so it didn't drop as low as the previous time Bitcoin dropped to those levels, but nonetheless, still not a bad area to potentially go long on Bitcoin. Now, of course, this could also drop lower. I mean, it hit 80,000. We're very close to 75,000. 75,000 isn't my average share price on a long-term position on Bitcoin. So it's pretty much going back to break even from those lows back in April of 2025, guys. That is insane. That is insane. And it could happen. I mean, that's just how Bitcoin is. It pushes up and then it sells off. It pushes up, it sells off. Pushed a huge run up from these lows of 27 to 75, sold off back to 50. Had a beautiful run from 50,000 up to 109, sold off to 75, and then pushed up to 126. So, it's only a matter of time before this does actually begin to push back up. But how low can it go? Very interesting space that we're in right now. Looks like it's having a little bit of trouble breaking around that 80, looks like around 83,500. Looks like it's having a very difficult time trying to push higher. So we have our long-term support and resistance levels, and we have our short-term support and resistance levels right here. Waiting to see what that will do. So I was considering shorting it again. I did notice that MSTR is getting rejected right off of those levels from yesterday. If you guys take a look at MSTR, it looks like it's getting rejected around 145 and 38, right around that level. You can see it getting rejected again. So very interesting to see. On the 1 hour, it's getting rejected off of that 45 EMA. We'll see if MSTR sells off even lower. It is very possible for this to sell off, as it has been selling off for a while. On the weekly, it's right at that moving average, right? The moving average on the 200-day is 145.99. Well, it's below that currently. So You know, MSTR is just one of those companies that continues to sell off. It holds Bitcoin, but it doesn't actually do anything, right? It literally just holds Bitcoin. It doesn't sell a service. It doesn't sell a product. It has no business model or business plan to actually create revenue. It only holds Bitcoin. So obviously when Bitcoin sells off, MSTR is going to sell off too. And now Michael Saylor has this new dividend strategy plan where he's paying out his shareholders money, but doesn't have the money to pay them out. So it's a very interesting concept indeed. If you want to learn more about that, we can do a separate video on it. But right now, Bitcoin or MSTR pushed up to 145, getting rejected as Bitcoin, again, not really doing much. Not able to really get to those highs like it was previously. So I was considering shorting by buying into some MSTZ, but we're at the point where Bitcoin is so oversold, this thing could rally very aggressively. So I don't really want to buy the dip if it's bouncing off of 80,000 or shorted more. But it's also an uncertainty of, you know, can it even get back up to those highs? So I don't really necessarily want to go long. Now, of course, anyone who watched the live stream yesterday knows we took the wrong side of the trade. This is not a recap video, but I'll just say that, you know, we should have shorted instead of going long. MSTZ went up, what was that, 20% yesterday. Beautiful move from 1450s, 1475 pre-market, and pushed all the way up to 1793 and even $18.69 in the after hours, up 26% total. What a beautiful move for MSTZ as Bitcoin sold off. So we're just kind of at that area where, again, I don't really want to short it because it's so oversold, but I don't really want to buy it because there's potential for it to not recover. So very interesting concept on that one. We're still showed up though. We're still here. We're still seeing if we could make a move today. QQQ also sold off yesterday. So you had kind of a little bit of both, right? You had kind of the bad of both worlds yesterday. QQQ sold off from pre-market highs of 636 to lows of 618, which is a 2.82% sell-off. Again, bouncing off of those 637 resistance levels. History does tend to repeat itself. It touched 637 literally just like clockwork. It touched it here back in October 30th, October 29th of last year, and touch it almost perfectly here yesterday. So still seeing a little bit of pullback. Technically, this is still bullish until it goes below this 200-day moving average. On the daily, still extremely bullish as well. Just has a minor little pullback here. So I'm excited to see what happens. Does this sell off even more? A lot of choppiness today. I noticed that this morning. Just a lot of choppiness, but overall, it does have this descending pattern on the short term. And again, it's like I would love to short it by trading SQQQ, potentially making, you know, $5 per share, $5 to $6 per share, about 8%. If QQQ goes down to 605 again, but I don't know if it'll bounce down to 605, guys. I don't know if it'll sell off that aggressively. It might just find some support right around this moving average, around 621, and then just completely go back up. Now, what is some news affecting this? Let's see if we go to trade ideas. Was it trade ideas? I think it was announcements. You know, some news here. You could always check it out in our Discord. But some news for this week and overall what's affecting the market. You know, another government shutdown is possible. They should be letting us know what happens with that today or tomorrow. Potential new 100% tariffs in Canada. You know, same old story. Trump wants tariffs. Trump doesn't want tariffs. He says one thing and then he doesn't say that thing, and he's just kind of back and forth. President Trump's also actively looking to acquire Greenland, so that's still up in the air. He said he won't take Greenland by force, but it doesn't mean he's still not, considering taking it and making it an American or a U.S. territory, which would be crazy. U.S. Armada is still heading toward Iran. I mean, these are still all ongoing issues. The Department of Justice investigation into Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, BlackRock CIO as the likely next Fed chair. Guys, you know about BlackRock. You know some of their conspiracy theories they have behind BlackRock. And not even conspiracy theory, but how much BlackRock owns and controls. They are their own monopoly. You know what I mean? Like they own so much stuff. It would be very interesting to see the Fed chair, the next Fed chair become a BlackRock CIO. With that said, we could be in trouble, or they could, inflate the market beyond all measures, beyond what we're even capable of investing in. Or they could create new rules. It's a little scary to think about BlackRock becoming a next Fed chair member. President Trump also calling for $2,000 stimulus checks and a 1% interest rate. How amazing would that be, right? The $2,000, that's not a huge deal. I don't really care about that. I mean, it would help a lot of people in America, but the 1% interest rate, I'm very curious to see what happens with that. We're looking at interest rates of 29%, 26%. Home loans, 4, 5, 6% interest on a home. So I'm very curious to see what happens with that for sure. We're getting a lot of people talking in the chat, which is awesome. I love to see it. If you guys want to connect with like-minded individuals, definitely join our Discord by clicking the first link in the description. Pretty soon, the Discord will be the only place that you could watch me trade live in the morning, Monday through Friday. So definitely become a Discord member. Consider joining, as this will not be a free service forever. It'll be a one-time fee, lifetime access. So if you're already joined, you won't get charged. So of course we had a 75% chance of government shutdown. So that'll be interesting still. Tuesday we had the January Consumer Confidence Report. On Wednesday we had the federal interest rate decision, and it came out flat. They were expecting a 3.75 and we got 3.75. So it wasn't, better or worse. Wednesday, Microsoft, Meta, and Tesla did report their earnings, and we will go over that. And Apple reported their earnings last night at market close, so we'll go over that as well in this live stream. And then December PPI inflation data is today. Okay, so we'll definitely go over that as well. And that's kind of what's happening this week. That's what are some of the things that are potentially affecting the market. Okay, so we got QQQ kind of holding here. I'd love to get into a trade, but just there's not really a heck of a lot of trades right now to take. Everything's just kind of choppy, and honestly, probably don't even want to take a trade after my loss from yesterday. The uncertainty of the government shutdown and how that'll affect the markets and all that as well. So kind of just sitting back here. Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't take a trade if a trade does come up. Says, Andrew, what's up, John? What's up, Andrew? When are you locking it? When am I locking what? The Discord? Is that what you mean? When am I locking it? When are you locking it? Let me know what that means, Andrew. I'd love to help answer that question. Oh, when am I locking the Discord? It'll be when we cross over 1,000 members. And I think we're currently at 700 and something members. Let's see. Yeah, I want the first 1,000 members to have free access. We have 718 members. So about 280 free spots left to get in. Once we cross over 1,000, that 1,001st member and up will be charged. And we're talking a small fee, guys. We're talking like $25 to start for lifetime access. So the second 1,000 members joining will have to pay $25 each. And then once we cross over 2,000 members, it'll be $50. So every 1,000 members that we grow by, it'll increase the lifetime subscription by $25. I have a whole bracket for it. So then once we get to, the next 1,000, it'll be $50 per person for lifetime access. Then it'll be $75. Then it'll be $100. And I may cap it at about, I want to say cap it at around $100 for members, because there are people who charge, $300, $400, $600 for lifetime access. And then there's also people who charge a monthly subscription where you have to pay anywhere from $20 to $50 every single month. And that's not something I want to do for our Discord members. Growing pretty fast. I think I joined at 500 or something, not even a month ago. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you're seeing the growth potential. I'm glad you're seeing the progress that we're all making, and how I'm trying, and I'm doing this all by myself. So I'm trying to really push the community on my own. I don't want to hire any outside people or outside influences. Now, if you guys want to help me, I may also create a referral link once we get to that point, to where, you get a little kickback when you refer people to the group. And if you can somehow prove that you got them to join, I'll give you 50% of the referral. So if we're at, say, $50 when it comes to that point, you would make $25. I would make $25 just for you simply referring someone to the group. So we're getting a lot of that stuff going. We're updating the course. That course is going to be included. The live day trading session will be included. And then the Discord community chat room with trade ideas and updates and alerts, that'll all be included. So it's very awesome, creating this community all from scratch, because I see value in what I'm doing, and I know other people see value in what I'm doing as well. And so I'm excited to be able to share that with you guys. Let's see here. Where's my screenshots at? Yeah, so it'll be a A to Z lesson library. It's only about 3 hours right now. I want to try to get it up to 5, maybe 5 hours or so, maybe even 8 hours of educational videos designed for beginners, to take you from knowing absolutely nothing about trading to giving you the knowledge and the understanding to be able to take your first trade. Daily live trading, of course, every day, Monday through Friday, at market open for about 30 minutes to an hour. And then having access to this exclusive LTE group chat where you can network with other like-minded traders. The whole point is to get over 1,000 members, because I think once we get 1,000 members, we're going to have people in your local neighborhood, right? There's 52 states in the country, 51, 50, whatever the number is. It's always changing because now Trump wants to acquire Greenland, so that'll be interesting. But you'll have at least 1 to 2 people in your state that you reside in, and as we grow, there'll be more and more people in every state. And we even have people across seas. We have people in the UK that are in our live stream as well, which is amazing, and I'd love to see more people from other countries as well. So it's open to everyone. And then also eventually, once we get it to say we have a $300 course, I can market it as, less than $1 a day to join. But 300 is a little pricey too. It's going to be a one-time payment, lifetime access. So I am excited about that. But we're going to start small, $25 or so to start. All right. But not quite just yet, guys. Not quite just yet. All right, I'm going to pull up the PPI. We're also getting our website back up and running again as well. I think that's important to have access to a website where, obviously you can view the course and have some other information. But at one point, like about a year or two ago, I had a website called investingforbeginnerscommunity.com, and that had, a blog style page where I'd put my videos in in there when I did like helpful videos in a blog style. We had a trading tools, which gave you like the economic calendar, trading calendar, risk calculator, um, as well as current events and stuff. So I want to get that back in operational. And then of course an email newsletter that we sent out once a week, I believe. So it's a lot. It's a lot for one person to do, but I know I can do it. I know I can do it. If I really just focus and set up systems and create plans. Netflix pushing up. And if you guys want, I could talk a little bit about my swing trades that I have. You know, not only do I day trade, but I am also swing trading, taking a few positions. Even though markets are somewhat selling off, I'm still taking positions in SoFi, Netflix, Hood, and I even captured some dividends on AG&C today. AG&C offered a 12 cents dividend. Now, you did have to own shares yesterday through the night to the day. So if you bought them yesterday or any time before yesterday and you still owned them today, this morning, then you were then labeled as a shareholder. You locked in those profits of 12 cents per share. And I currently have 30 shares. So not a lot of shares, but definitely enough to get that ball rolling. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. You know, 12 cents, that's like $1.20 on 10, 240, 360. So it's not a lot, but it's monthly. These are monthly dividends. So say you have 100 shares, you're going to make $12 every single month until you sell out of your position. That adds up. You know, there's 12 months. 12 times 12 is 144. So you'd make $144 a year by just having 100 shares of AG&C. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but then you can go and you could buy more shares. You know, if you had 1,000 shares, that's $120 a month in dividends. So it adds up very quickly. All right, let's see here. Let me pull this up for you guys. So this is basically what it looks like once we get the website operational. This is how it would look. You'd have your real-time economic calendar, your trading calendar, risk calculator, and I believe I threw in a growth calculator as well. But Friday, core PPI is better than expected. Forecast was 2.9, actuals 3.3. So that's holding up the market a little bit. Core PPI month over month, up 0.7%. Better than expected. Forecast was 0.2. PPI is better than expected. And Chicago PMI is better than expected, coming in at 54. And the forecast was 43. So not too bad at all, to say the least. That is what's holding the market up slightly, or else I believe this probably would have sold off even more. Now on the 1 hour, it's holding above this 200-day moving average very nicely. And on the 4 hour, it's holding above that moving average very nicely. So as long as it holds above, we might see some choppiness. Again, the government shutdown, that is going to determine everything. If the government shuts down, I believe this could probably bring it down more. And if it doesn't, then of course this thing is going to probably skyrocket pretty aggressively. But right now, kind of getting held below that moving average on the 1 minute time frame. Oh, we were going to look at Apple. Apple reported their earnings. Stock fall, dollar rise after Trump taps Warsh for Fed. Kind of flatlined, didn't it? Apple acquires Israel audio AI startup. Revenue rises 16%. iPhone revenue hits all-time high. Apple to prioritize premium iPhone launches in 2026. Apple is a seasoned sailor in choppy waters. That's so funny. I watched with the family last night. I watched Pirates of the Caribbean dead man tails no tails. So that's kind of interesting. Um, that he would say that, I guess. I don't know. Pretty funny. Um, Andrew, let's hear them. Let's hear them. What are we talking about? Oh, the swing trades that I mentioned a minute ago. Is that what you're talking about there, sir? If you guys want to participate in the live chat and you're having trouble doing so, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel and you will be able to participate in the live chat. Ask me questions. Say hello. Let me know what state or country you're tuning in from. I'd love to hear it, guys. Okay. Andrew, are you talking about the swing trades? I talked about so much stuff just now. Yes. Oh, okay. Yes. All right. Yeah. So Apple didn't really do much. Apple kind of flatlined from its earnings, so that's good. I know Microsoft tanked pretty aggressively on their earnings on Wednesday. Microsoft sold off 13% overnight because they kind of missed some of their earnings and revenue. Meta did the exact opposite. Meta pushed up on their earnings. They went up 12%. And was it Tesla, I believe, on Wednesday? Yeah, I believe Tesla reported earnings as well. So Wednesday to Thursday, they dropped about 8%, but have fully recovered. Full recovery on Tesla. So, all right. Let's see. QQQ. It's dropping. It's dropping below that moving average on the 1 hour. We were just talking about it holding up, and that if it drops below, it can sell off even more. So the next defense for bulls would be this support here at 621. If it drops 621.19 and holds below that level, we will see more selling pressure. So I'm going to set my alert there, and I'm going to set my alert about 617, above 617. So if it goes below this level, we'll get more selling pressure. If it goes above it, we'll get more buying pressure, okay? All right, so swing trades, let's go ahead and talk about that because I don't think we're going to find a setup today. Let's take a look at Bitcoin before I trade. Yeah, Bitcoin's just kind of chopping. It's not really doing much of anything. Now, you could trade these lows and highs pretty easily off these bounces here. MSTR just isn't moving along with it as much as you would like. It's just kind of choppy. It is bullish so far. It did get rejected off of 145 and came down to 143. So I wouldn't recommend trading anything today. MSTU was up to 717. And this is where I sold my position yesterday, this yellow line. That is where I sold my position. So it's back up to where I sold, which doesn't mean break even. You know, I took a loss yesterday on going long on Bitcoin. MSTZ selling off. So, okay, really no trades there. We'll go ahead and talk a little bit about our swing trades. And I'll show you guys exactly where I'm buying and potentially where I'm going to be selling. Cost basis, we'll throw that up there and then show trading record. So AG&C, of course, had 20 shares. I bought 10 more today for next month, and I'll probably slowly add up to 100 shares just to show you guys the power of capturing dividends every month. Thought that'd be a cool thing to do for our Discord members. So we're at 30 shares at an 11.81 share price. Currently down about $8 on the day, but overall open down about 2% or $7, which isn't bad. That's not bad for dividend. This could definitely go down more. We'll leave this. Oh, we'll actually leave this open for you guys to see. 30 shares, about $346. Now, my thought process on this, of course, I'm buying at all-time highs, right? So I bought 10 shares here, or I bought one, I guess, there. I bought 19 this day, and then I bought 10 on today. So if it comes down to 11s, I would buy another 10, 20 shares. But right now, this thing is really pushing beautifully, right? Beautifully. From even January, where's January at? I think I have to go out more. Let's go to the daily. So from January of 2024 January 2024, right around what, 736. Now you could also have bought the dips and bought more down in this level, but to January of this year, I want to show this to you, the power of this company, AG&C. It pushed up 48%. 48% in a year, which was just close to $4 a share. So if you had 100 shares of AG&C at 750, let's call it, that's $750 of investment. You have 100 shares. It pushes up $4 at this price point. Now you have 1150. So you have $1,150 in market value. Okay, so $400 in profit. Plus, on 100 shares, you're getting $12 paid out to you every single month. Another 12. June 12. July 12. August 12. And every month you're getting 12 cents. Oh, I guess this is in 2 years. My bad. This is in 2 years it pushed up 40%. Okay. Well, still, that's what, averaging 20% a year? That's not bad. $200. The point is making that $12 every month on 100 shares. If you had 200 shares, then you'd make about $24 a month. 400 shares would put you at almost $100 a month in monthly income. Okay, and $400 down at $7, or 400 shares, what's that, 7, 14, 21, 28, about a little shy of $3,000. So you put $3,000 in back when it was $7, and you're making $100 a month, plus 40% appreciation in 2 years on $4,000. That's pretty amazing, right? Even 10% on 4,000 would be 400, 4, 8, 12, 16. You'd make an additional $1,600 plus the $100 a month for 2 years. That's pretty incredible. So that's kind of my thought process behind AG&C. And you can do this with many other dividend paying stocks. I believe Oat Realty also pays a dividend.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to rush you.
Thank you. My beautiful wife is going to get me a refill on my coffee. It'll be my second cup today. Do you guys drink coffee? Let me know. Realty also, same thing. They pay a monthly dividend. Okay, this whole channel used to be based off long-term investing, dividend capturing, and what are some great REITs or real estate investment trusts to buy into to get monthly paying dividend. You don't need to become a landlord. You don't have to put insane 10, 20% down to obtain a house. You don't have to worry about tenants or being a landlord. You don't have to worry about missed payments or mortgages or interest or any of that. You can literally become a landlord, or my bad, you can become a real estate investor without having to become a landlord. And that's simply by investing in companies like Realty Income O. It is a REIT, a real estate investment trust. And this pays 26 cents every single month. Every month it pays 26 cents. I believe now it's 27 cents per share. So if you had 4 shares, that'd be $1 a month. If you had 400 shares, that'd be about your $100 a month in dividends. Now, I don't have a position in this, but I have been highly considering it just because the monthly income, right? There's nothing wrong with that. No coffee for me, just the Dispo and Nick. Hey, that's all right.
There's not that much creamer because that's all we have.
Oh, okay. No, it still looks good. Thank you. Yeah, I hear you, man. I used to do the same thing many years ago. So, all right. So that is my thought process on why I'm invested in AG&C. For all of you who don't know what AG&C is, it is a real estate investment trust. It is in the United States, and they basically have private capital in the housing market, enhancing liquidity in the residential real estate mortgage markets, and in turn facilitating home ownership in the United States. So looks like this is guaranteed and sponsored by enterprises like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Okay, even I didn't know that part specifically, but Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are federal home loan mortgage corporations that help people get into like their first home and stuff like that. I even considered using them one time for a home loan, but didn't need to. I now own the home I have through a rent to own strategy we set in place with the seller. So I actually got to skip the bank, skip the down payment, skip the credit check, and go straight into a rent to own setting in the property that I'm currently in, which is great, right? Because once you fulfill your rent to own obligation, then you fully own it. You take the title to the, whatever, the courthouse, the county courthouse, and you get the title switched into your name. And then you go from paying a monthly rent, or I guess mortgage in some people's situations, to only having to pay property tax, which is amazing. So very excited about that. All right. And then not only that, you can take your home, you could either live in it forever, rent free, right? Or you could rent it out and move into another home using this home as collateral to get a loan on that home if you want a loan, or have cash, which is what I'm planning to do on the next one, is have cash money to buy the next property outright. So then again, won't have a loan, won't have a mortgage, won't have to worry about a bank. You just pay cash, you get in, and yeah. So I do dabble in some real estate as well. This is my second property. I have another property that's vacant right now. It's not being rented out. But yeah, so this is my second property. Looking to get another one maybe this year, maybe 2026. We'll be getting another property. If not, it might be closer to 2027. But I'll keep you guys up to date on that if you guys want to learn more about kind of real estate and how I'm doing it. SoFi is the next one. SoFi, we go down to the 4 hour. Yeah, we can even go to the 30-minute, I believe. I bought, what was that? One share at 25.41, right? I just wanted to buy a share, kind of get my foot in the door. And then today, just before we got on the live stream, I bought another 4 to make it even to 5. And then I like the consolidation here. So I bought another 5 at 22.92 to make an even 10 shares, about $231 on this swing trade. Now looking at the, what was it, the daily, I'm liking this daily setup here. This daily trend line of the 200-day moving average is at 2269. Okay, 2269, and it bounced at 2281. So if we can hold above this moving average, we can see a nice, I mean, anything between 15% to the next moving average where it previously was, to 20% to 30% to even potentially 40% profit on this swing trade, potentially making around $100 on only about 10 shares. So wouldn't that be amazing? And we could always add more to this as we see direction in our favor. But to make $100 on a swing trade, not too bad for this one. So that's my thought process on SoFi. Netflix would be next. Now Netflix, we did buy one share at 83.53 just to get started. It pushed up. I thought we were going to be able to push up higher, got rejected. So I bought 2 more at around 84.50, 84.60. And then today I bought another one at 83.22. So, oh, and over here too, I bought another one. I bought 2 shares at 89.19. So slowly adding into this position as time goes on. Again, my average price was 89.19. So my average was way up here, 89.19. And as I'm adding into this, the value or the average share price is beginning to go down. It was at 89.19, then it went down to like 88, then it went down to like 87, then it went down to 86, and now it's at 85.70. So this is my new average share price. Purchasing one more additional share. So I want to probably get this up to 10 shares. Currently it's at $500 in value, and I'm down about 13 bucks, 2.5%. I'm up on the day, but down overall slightly. Probably get this to 10 or 12 shares as it begins to push higher. But for right now, with only the 6 shares, If this even pushes back up to this little blue moving average, 8% return, about 40 bucks. If it pushes back up to the 200-day moving average, we're looking at about 30%, 162 bucks. Or if it pushes up to all-time highs, we're looking at a 55% return, or $285 on this. Only 6 shares. Only 6 shares. So there was, 10 shares. Obviously, it would be almost double that return. So don't mind holding this a little longer. I like Netflix. I like their business model. Analysts are saying it could average around $111 share price to a high of about 150 share price. I guess I could have did that with SoFi. SoFi is looking at about $27 to $38 with their average and high price target or share price. So I'm liking both of them, and for different reasons, right? For different reasons, indeed. Now Hood is another swing trade that we did take, and let's see here. We bought 3 shares at 108.79. I thought it would bounce off of this level and push up. It actually held for just a moment and got rejected. Got rejected again on Tuesday. So this was Monday. I bought this on Monday. Tuesday gets rejected. Or wait, maybe, no, that was Tuesday. Tuesday, and then Wednesday gets rejected. Thursday tries to push up and gets rejected. Today we're on Friday. I bought another share at 101.66, which means I must have bought more. Yeah, I bought more over here. It's about 2 shares at 106.95. That was my initial investment. 2 there. I bought 3 here to make 5, and then I bought another 1. So originally had a share price of around 106.95. Bought a little bit more at 108. Brought my average up. Bought a little bit more at 101.66 right here. 101.66 this morning. So average share price still at 106.99, which means we have a $609 investment on 6 shares. We're down about 5%. I think this is the one we're down the most on right now. About 5%, or about $32. So not too worried about that. And I believe those are my swing trades. I had 4 positions. We talked about AG&C, Netflix, Hood, and SoFi. Yep, those are the ones. Very aggressive, you could say. Those are very aggressive swing trades, except for maybe AG&C. But at the same time, the potential on Hood is also pretty incredible. Now, it did go below its moving average, which I did not like to see. I wanted to see this bounce off the moving average. It still can. Sometimes it overshoots the moving average a little bit before retracing. But looking at even just the 6 shares, if we can get back up to that 45 EMA, that'd be about a 7 to 8% profit, about 50 bucks. Pushes up a little higher, we're looking at 28, 30%. And if it goes back up to previous highs of 153, another 43% potential, $280 on 6 shares. So we're looking at, 280 there, another 280 or so here, 300. That's $500. SoFi, another 100, so $600 in swing trading potential on not that much actually. In actually invested 230, 5, 6, that's 11, 12, 13, like $1,300. So looking to basically make 50% on 1,300 bucks. And of course, AG&C, I just want to get those monthly paying dividends. Firewater Desire, do you trade options sometimes? No, I have in the past. Back in like 2023, 2024, I did dabble in some options. I understand options and the power that they have to make money, but I also don't like the fact that, you could basically lose your entire contract. Like, so it's either you're going to make money, you're going to get out at a certain price, or if they expire worthless, you make $0. So I don't really like not having control of that. For a stock to go all the way to 0, turn into a penny stock and get delisted and lose all your money is way less likely than a contract expiring. Also, they got, I mean, options, if they work for you, great. It's not something that I trade or something that I'm looking to get into at the moment. Um, but I know you can make a lot of money trading options. You can also lose a lot of money. Same thing with stocks, same thing with anything, same thing with buying and reselling cars, buying and reselling houses. There's always going to be risk factors involved when dealing with money. You have a risk and reward ratio. And hey, if trading options works for you, I'm all for it. I'm not about, saying my style of trading is the only way you can trade, because it's not. There's hundreds of ways to make money in the market. And what's cool is we can make money off of this right here, right? You could go long and I can make money. You could short this at the same time and make money. So not only just trading the same company, but trading different price points, trading the highs, the lows, going long or going short. We can all make money in the stock market at the same time at different times with the same exact company. So I do believe that trading can be very, very beneficial and rewarding to anyone who is willing to learn. And that's why I offer this Discord to everyone right now for free. We have about 280 spots left, and then I'll be charging a small fee. It's not going to be anything crazy, probably about $25, one-time fee, lifetime access. But I believe the value, the content, the community is all growing to a point where we will be able to charge very soon. And it makes you guys feel a little bit more special because people have to pay to get in. It'll limit spam. It'll limit people that don't really want to trade, or kind of, don't take it as serious, because once you put real money in to a course or into a Discord where you pay for something and you want something in return, you tend to take it a little bit more seriously. Not saying you guys don't take it seriously, because you guys are the ones showing up to the live streams. You guys are the ones asking the questions, right? So moving forward, we're going to have not only more people, but people who are more willing to learn, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So, Andrew, I know you spoke a lot about the AG&C, but can you go more in depth? I like the monthly, and I'm considering it. Sure, yeah, monthly dividends are a great way to make additional income. So, when you are a shareholder of a company that pays a monthly dividend, you actually get a piece of the pie, right? You get a piece of their profits for being invested into their company. So I have a great example here which talks about it. And they have X dividend dates, which is the day you need to be a shareholder, the day you need to control specific um, stocks. Like, I believe even Apple pays a dividend, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Apple. This is a $3.7 trillion company, and they barely started paying dividends, I think, last year or the year before. Now they pay 26 cents per share, but it's quarterly. Okay, quarterly. So you're going to get paid 4 dividends a year, one every 3 months. And for this being such a high company, $254 a share, you're only going to get 26 cents every quarter. That's insane. So their dividend is actually much lower. Their dividend yield is much, much lower. 26 cents. You can see all the payouts here. I think it's like less than 1%. Less than 1% of a dividend. Now, a good place to look, and AG&C, to kind of prove, to make my point, AG&C is, I think, at 10 or 12% dividend yield per year. So imagine being able to make 10% on your money every year. You throw $1,000 in there, you're making $100 a year, $120 a year. But instead of only doing it in a quarterly basis, they're paying you out every single month. So then you can actually snowball your dividends to give you more. So if you have 100 shares, here's a really cool one. If you have 100 shares of AG&C right now and they pay you out $12, you can reinvest those $12 and buy an additional one share, because the share price is only $11.51. So then every month you're buying one more share, or the company or your holdings is actually doing it for you. So you almost become a machine. It becomes a process to where you don't even have to invest your own money anymore. Imagine being able to own, say, what, 400 or 500 shares. Then you would be able to get 4 or 5 new shares every single month through reinvesting those dividends and profits. And you could always pull the money out and live off of it if you want to. Now the thing is this has such a high appreciation. Usually you don't see companies do this, but because this is a real estate investment trust, it has money coming in. You know, companies like Main Street Capital is another good one. It's a little bit more choppy, but they pay monthly about 30 cents to 25 cents every single month. And then in December, usually these companies will pay a special dividend. So you see how there's two in December? You're going to get 25 cents on December 8th, and you're going to get another 30 cents per share on December 22nd. So sometimes they have special dividends at the end of the year, sometimes even twice a year, to where you'll get that bonus. You'll get a little extra payout for owning shares. And Main Street Capital is about $63. This is also a real estate investment trust. O Realty, we talked about that. They pay a monthly dividend of 26 cents. And did they pay a special one in December? No, they didn't pay a special one in December. But that's okay. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And you can mix and match. You know, O Realty not only is a real estate investment trust, but they own like 15,000 properties that aren't residential, they're commercial. And what's cool about O Realty is they own companies like Rite Aid, CVS, I believe even some movie theaters, to where you already know commercial is going to pay their rent, right? You might have trouble with residential paying their rent, but you know O Realty, or you know Wells Fargo, CVS, all these places, they're going to be paying their rent because they're commercial properties. They even have 1 year leases, 2 year leases, stuff like that, even 5 or 10 year leases. So watch your eyes. O Realty is one of those people. Let's look at featured properties. Um, they have sell leaseback of Wynn, which is a Boston Harbor resort and casino. They own this property, and they have these people pay them. Other places like Sainsbury, which is a grocery store. Um, let's see. They also have some kind of industrial building here. Chevron, 7-Elevens, over 100 convenience stores. So I mean, they own properties that are going to pay these leases, and this is what helps with their stakeholders and shareholders to be able to make money off of assets like this. So I wanted to show you more. I know they have more of them. Okay, so 10% of their portfolio as a real estate investment company, 10% is in grocery stores. Another 9% is in convenience stores. They have home improvement. They have dollar stores. They have restaurants, health and fitness, drugstores, automotive services, restaurants, and general merchandise. We're talking 7-Eleven, Dollar General, Walgreens, Family Dollar, Lifetime Fitness, Wynn Resort, FedEx, BJ's, Tractor Supply, CVS, AMC Movie Theater, Walmart, Home Depot. So you know these companies are going to be paying their rent to Realty Income. So because they pay their rents, you are able to make money off of a strong portfolio that they've created. And investors, let's see, quarterly and annual results here. Let's see, Q3 earnings releases. Oh, I guess you could check out all their earnings releases and stuff. I thought I was going to have a cool graph. But basically, O Realty has been going up for a long time, a very long time. If we go back to the weekly, you can see I was even trading it back in 2019, 2020 at $30. So from $30 to $60, it's doubled in appreciation. And you've been able to get monthly paying dividends the entire time. The entire time you've been able to get these dividends. Look at that. These are all dividends. They have not once stopped paying dividends, and you're getting about 25 to, I think it said 27 cents a share. So it could be a great way for monthly income for sure. Firewater, I hear you. In the past, I've been on lives and have watched people who don't even watch come in to troll the host. Yeah, yeah. So by having a paid community where only our Discord members can watch me trade live every morning is going to be a game changer. It's going to make you all feel very more exclusive and special for being a part of the community and only being allowed to watch, to also eliminating spammers, trollers, and other people who trying to take advantage of you or even just trying to troll on me. So yeah, that's a good point, Firewater. And I want this to grow, right? We're not going to stop at 1,000 members. I want this to ultimately get to 10,000 members, to where we have meetups, to where if I travel to a specific state or city, we can host meetups and we can have our Discord members come and hang out with us and do one-on-ones and maybe go out to dinners and hang out. You know, if I'm in Arizona, do we have anyone from Arizona? Maybe, maybe we do, maybe we don't right now, but eventually we will. You know, we'll have people in my area. We'll have people in Denver, in Dallas, in Houston, in some other smaller town regions. Who knows, right? Virginia, Michigan, California. But I'd love to host meetups. And then eventually we could do year meetups where, like, maybe once a year I host an event to where everyone can meet up that wants to come. We get like uh, let's say like an Airbnb or like a villa, or we rent out a space depending on how many people RSVP, and we just hang out and we enjoy each other's company. We collaborate. We get to know each other. We can then be able to talk more and just enjoy the year of profits and really create a community that we can all enjoy together. So yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited about 2026 and beyond. I'm not going anywhere, and I think $25 to start is pretty modest. You know, I'm not trying to get rich or take advantage of anyone, especially people who are new to trading. But also, I want to make it worth my efforts, right? I just don't want to keep doing this for free. You know, as much as I love you guys, I feel like I could get paid a little bit for my efforts. And that's why I think, the first 1,000 members getting in for free is just amazing. You know, you guys are the special. You guys are the goats of the channel. You guys will have that access. And of course, I'll help people if, hey, they don't have the $25 or $50 or $100 in the future. We'll do discounts. We'll do like 50% off, like Black Friday deals, and or if they prove their point as to why they can't pay, I could simply just let them in. I'm not going to be a savage when it comes to our channel. I just want to make sure that we eliminate trollers, spammers, scammers, because even right now we have 720 members, and I still get messages that we have imposters pretending to be me, trying to take advantage of some of our new traders that get in. Remember, guys, I will never ask you for money. I will never message you first. I will not trade for you, because that's just not what I do. And I don't do anything Bitcoin or cryptocurrency related. I don't ask you to buy into any brokerages. The only brokerage I use is WEBULL, and it is free to set it up. I mean, I think you pay like $1 to get in, but you use your dollar for your trades. So I want you guys to be aware of that, okay? If you got a fake Johnny Trades, or if you got a Johnny Trades messaging you saying that they'll trade for you, copy trade, or asking to invest in crypto or something for you, no, that is a fake Johnny Trades. That is a fake imposter account, and you should report them. Let's see. I hope that helped you, Andrew. Explain a little bit more about monthly dividends. I was trying to find this download I had showcasing what the ex-dividend date is, declaration date, as well as the payout date. They're going to be different. So The ex-dividend date is the day that you need to be holding the shares. You could buy in and out. Like I could sell my shares of AG&C right now on the ex-dividend date because they've already recorded me as a shareholder. I could get out of this position. I could wait 1 day or 2 days before the next ex-dividend date, and then I could buy another group of shares and get paid out. That's called dividend capturing. But if you just want to simply buy and hold and get paid out monthly, then you wouldn't have to really necessarily worry about the ex dividend date. Now, the ex dividend date is going to be a little different than, here we go, I found it. I need to actually put these in a place to where like it makes more sense to have it, because I know where they are in my downloads, but I have to scroll through like 1,000 downloads to find it. But you have your declaration date. So this is the date that the company will say, hey, we're going to be paying a dividend of 25 cents in the month of February, because that'll be next month. Now, the declaration date, they also tell you when the ex-dividend date is, the date of record, and the pay date. So usually the ex-dividend date and the date of record are about a day or two apart. It's basically saying date of record, I have 1 million people who own X amount of shares on the X dividend date, and we will be paying out those 1 million people 25 cents per share on said pay date right here. So that is a great way to understand dividend capturing. Um, and let's see. What was the other thing? I have some dividend capturing videos on my channel from back in the day too, when I was a little bit more serious about it. I mean, we were at one point making, it was like $25 to $50 a month in dividends. And then I basically just kind of stopped. I was like, man, this is a little bit of a slow money. You know, I want to make $25 or $50 every day, not every month. And of course, at the time, I wasn't smart enough to say, hey, let's do both. And I wasn't blessed to have enough money to be able to do both, So, um, another cool area that you can look if you're still watching is, let's see, the NASDAQ, or the dividend tracker here. Let me pull it up real quick. The dividend calendar is what I'm trying to say. Dividend payout calendar. And I believe the NASDAQ one's a good one. Dividend.com is okay. To Market B, Seeking Alpha. Dividend calendar 2026. Dividend history, I guess, is a good one too. Yeah, I guess we could look at dividend history one. Watch your eyes. So dividend history, Friday. It should show AG and C on here. Oh, okay. O Realty paid out a dividend as well. So Realty Income raises dividend 19.2%. Frequency is monthly. Annual dividend is $3.24 for Realty Income O. They paid out 27 cents on January 15th for 12/31. And then if you owned O Realty on today, you'll get paid out on February 13th, 27 cents. So let's go ahead and look at AG&C. I don't really like this website. I like the one it's like the NASDAQ. Let's see if we can find that one. Yeah, NASDAQ dividend calendar is probably my favorite. It gives it a little bit more of a clear picture. So let's see here. The dividend yield on AG&C is 11.98%. So it's 12%. It pays monthly, and it gives you $1.44 per share. Now it's 12 cents per month. So the one for today will be paid out on February 10th. And then if you own shares on February 27th, they'll pay you out on March 11th. So that is really, really cool. I like this one, the NASDAQ.com Market Activities Dividend Calendar. This shows you per day. So there's AG&C right at the top of the list. And then, so like, say you want to capture something for next week. So let's go to Monday. Monday, we could even look at the highest paid dividends, or you could even look at pay dates, uh, which we probably should look at pay dates. So, um, they have a ton of these. They really do have a ton of these. You could even search monthly paying, quarterly paying. Not saying that monthly is any better than quarterly, but you get paid this nice income stream that like you can see, right? It's different when you get paid out in March and then you get paid out in like June or July. And you're like, oh cool, yeah, I forgot I even own these shares. To like, okay, I'm getting paid out every month on the 15th, like clockwork, 15th of June, 15th of July, 15th of August. I'm getting paid. I know that's going to be a steady income for years to come. They have dividend kings, dividend aristocrats that have been paying out for so long. They even increased their dividends. So dividend, let's see, dividend. This is something that I was pretty passionate about years ago. Um, And I still am. As you can tell, I still am. So, some major dividend aristocrats on the list. Okay, so that's one way you could check upcoming dividends. Dividend aristocrats are companies that have been paying out dividends for over 25 years. And they're consistently also increasing the dividend. So they started paying out maybe 2 cents, then 5 cents, then 10 cents, then 25 cents. Some of these companies pay dollars on dollars for dividends. So you got Triple M, Coca-Cola, Johnson and Johnson, McDonald's, Procter and Gamble, PepsiCo, Walgreens, AbbVie, Chevron, Colgate Palmolive Company. These are all companies that pay dividends for the last 25 years, and they'll probably pay them for the next 25 years, and also increase their actual dividend over time. So let's look at, for example, here, Firewater. Do you know how to use the footprint? Do you know how to use the footprint? What exactly do you mean by that, Firewater? I'd love to know. How to use the footprint. We talked about a lot of stuff. The footprint. Oh, the footprint on dividends? Or are we still talking about the Discord? The footprint on the Discord. I'd love to know what you meant by that, Firewater. Okay, so let's take a look at MO. Now, of course, you know, Altria, QQQ, what's happening? It's dropping below 621. So just like we talked about, if it drops below 621, we could see some more selling pressure. So it's slightly below this moving average here, 621.19, 621, 620.90. So yeah, this is officially selling off because 621.19 was right here. And it's now at 621.05, 620.92. And it could bounce off of this level too. There's nothing saying that, hey, it's slightly below it. It can bounce. But now we're at a key level to where if it breaks support, it'll sell off more for QQQ. If it can hold at this level as support, it'll push up higher for QQQ. So I love moving averages and the way that we can use them, the way that they tend to repeat themselves by either pushing up or pushing down. So very cool to see that happening on the live stream. MO. Let's talk about MO. Now, this is a dividend aristocrat. It has been increasing its dividends for a very long time. It's also increasing its share price from $32 back in October of 2023 to even where it is now. It's up 82%. All-time high at $66. It was up 101%. So to be up 100% on your initial investment and then also get paid an incentive of 98 cents to a dollar per quarter for owning those shares is just a great way to add, to make money by adding these to your long-term investment portfolio. Now, do I say go 100% on dividends? No, not necessarily, because they don't grow as much, right? So it pushed up 100% in about a year, year and a half. But then you have companies like Netflix, which, you know, Netflix is a good example. It's pushed up over 200 or 300%. Now they don't pay a dividend, but you want companies that not only pay an income monthly or quarterly, but also they appreciate, right? You want to see them appreciate over time as well. So we're going to set another alert around 618.30, which is the low from yesterday. We'll see if this begins to drop to that low. If it does, then we could see even more selling pressure or a possible bounce on QQQ. So, but yeah, looking back at MO, you know, this thing has been paying out $1 every quarter per share. So that's not bad. Ex dividend date was 12/26. It looks like the next one won't be until around March. So we'll get another dividend payout around March for MO at $60 per share. You're going to make $1 per share in dividend, which isn't bad, right? So some of these are lower dividend yield percentages, and some are much higher, like AG and CO. So yeah, I mean, this was pretty great live stream. We covered not only my swing trades and looking for a potential day trade, because, you know, obviously we can do both, but also talking about dividends. So that's great. That was a great question. All right, look, and while I was talking, Bitcoin did push below this intraday kind of range here, so that does break the support that we were looking at, which means this can actually trade within this range. It can sell off to 80,000. I might actually want to take a position in MSTZ shorting Bitcoin, and we could still make a decent amount of money here. We can make, you know, $1.50 per share, 8% profit if Bitcoin continues to sell off, which means MSTR would also continue to sell off. It is below that moving average. Yep, I think we're going to do it. We're going to go ahead and get into MSTZ starting light. We're not buying 100 shares right off the bat. We're going to buy 10 shares. We're going to see if it validates this as a support. And again, it's very overbought, in my opinion, on the long side, but it's also very oversold. Look where I bought and traded it on Wednesday. If I would have just held my, you know, what was that, about 100 shares on Wednesday, we'd be up about $5 or $500 in a couple of days by simply holding my short position. Now, of course, I don't really like holding positions overnight, especially on my day trades. I don't like to turn day trades into swing trades, although I may consider it now that I'm getting more used to the way Bitcoin moves. But if Bitcoin continues to sell off, there's no reason in not waiting, right? So this was Wednesday. Let's see, where's Wednesday at? Wednesday the 28th. It was kind of flatlining around 90,000. Gets rejected, sells off the last 2 days. So MSTZ would have been a fantastic play. Even if I sold out here, bought yesterday, and it pushed up, right? And this was like literally the only day I didn't trade MSTZ. If you go back to the 4-hour time frame, I literally trade MSTZ every single day. And we either make 2, 3, 4, 5%, or we lose about 1%, right? So we've made a lot of money off of MSTZ already. And the one day I don't trade MSTZ, it pushes up like clockwork. That's why it's important to show up to the market every single day. You don't necessarily have to trade every single day, but simply by showing up every single day, watching the same stock over and over and over, you get moves like this where it does push up 20, 30% in a single day. You think I wouldn't have minded that? You know, I love trading these where we make 2 or 3% in a single day. You know, we're locking in $20, $30, $40, $50. We have people in our Discord making $100, $70 by showing up to these little tiny baby moves. So that way when it does move, we can take advantage of these pretty significant moves. So, all right, it is validating. It is validating support here. We're going to go easy. We're going to buy another 5. Just easing into it. Easing into our trade. 15 shares up $2. like $260 in value. I don't want to get burned, but if Bitcoin continues to sell off the way it is, MSTR will continue to fall. You could buy 50 shares, 100 shares, and then lock in some serious cash. But only when it makes sense, only when it's validated. All right, and what a great live stream we had today, guys. You guys have any questions, any concerns, anything that you guys would like to share with me on my end? I would love to be a part of it. I'll answer any questions you guys might have. All right, pulling back a little bit. Bitcoin pushing, not really pushing higher, but still selling off. Love to see it. Love to see this sell off here. I was talking a little bit about dividends, so we missed out on this. I would have loved to buy a little bit more. So I bought 10 shares at 17.25 and 5 at 17.38. I would have loved to buy more around 16.75 because then that would have really gave us that nice, 4% profit. That small little move right there was 4% profit, 73 cents per share on 100 shares, and a quick $73. Not too bad at all. Not too bad at all. How long have we been going live? An hour and 16 minutes. I'd really love to know what Firewater meant by "do you know how to use the footprint?" Let me know. If not on here on the live stream, maybe you can DM me or we can talk in the Discord about what you meant by that. I'd love to know. And don't forget to smash that like button for me if you can. And also subscribe and join our Discord if you haven't already. Should buy another 5 shares here. I'm going to wait for the pullback here. Let's see how high up this can go. And then I'll buy some more, maybe another 10 shares or so on my trade. Again, just easing into it. It's still somewhat of a long day. Let's see how high up this can go. Does it retrace fully? Or kind of see where that support is right there. It's kind of a random support in the middle of nowhere. We'll see how high up this goes. If it gets rejected off of this moving average, then we'll simply buy some more of MSTZ. This is what trading's all about. Just being very patient with your trades, not getting into it. I could have bought 100 shares right here, but we're just very simply, very easily taking a light position. So if it goes against us, if we're down, 2% on 100 shares, that could be pretty significant. But if we're down 2% on 15 or 25 shares, that's not as bad. Let's see Bitcoin begin to retrace. Okay, pushing up. We're going to let Bitcoin push up higher. Okay, you guys get a little bit of both worlds today. You get my swing trades, you get to know more about dividend capturing and long-term investing with dividends, and now you get to watch some actual live day trading. So I feel like this was a really good live stream today. There we go, pushing up. Heck yeah, and that's what it's all about, guys. Just paid off my credit card this morning. It wasn't very much, it was like 80 bucks. But keeping your balances low on your credit cards will give you better credit over time. Making sure you're making those payments before the due date or before you even catch interest at the end of the billing cycle. I've noticed that. Like, you have a credit card that's 29% interest, and instead, I'm gonna buy a couple more here, another 5 shares. Um, but instead, your say you have $1,000 credit limit. Say you use $100. You're gonna get charged 30% on $100. So say that's like $3. Okay, so now you have to pay $103, or it'd be 30, $130. So now you have to pay $30 in interest. But here's the catch: if you pay off your balance before the end of the billing cycle, then you don't have any interest at all. It would be a zero interest credit card. Isn't that amazing? It's like a cool little credit card hack that I discovered. I'm sure maybe some of you guys already know that. Maybe you already know that, but if you pay off your balance before it gets reported, then you don't even have to pay interest. I could use the entire $1,000, and as long as I pay it off before the billing cycle reports it or puts it in as, okay, now you owe $1,000 plus 30%, so that'd be $1,300. Why pay that $300 in interest when you could just pay off your balance and it'd be 0%? I got to borrow that money and not have to pay any interest on it. Really cool little hack for anyone who has credit cards. Paid that off, paid my utilities today, and paid my Straight Talk phone. So 80, 120, 150, like $200. I spent $200 today on some bills. And I was able to do that with some of the profits. Well, with all profits from trading stocks. Pretty cool. Pretty freaking cool. By clicking some buttons. All right, Bitcoin pushing up slightly. I did buy a little bit of it down here. 20 shares. Again, if this goes against me and I'm down even 3%, I'm down $12, right? But if I had $1,000 position, 3% would be like $30, right? If I got 100 shares right now off the bat and it goes against me, that'd be like what, $1,700? So then I'd actually be down like closer to $50. So it's all about just easing into the trade, easing into it. This can come down here and I could actually buy more, giving myself a better average price at a lower point when I buy. Or I could just simply get out because now it's not in my favor anymore. Direction's going against me. I could get out with the 20 shares, take a $2 loss, and then buy in again because I still have buying power. So there's a lot of great ways that you can trade, but it's all about being patient, identifying a trade plan that makes sense to you, sticking to your trade plan, and also not going in so heavy. If you feel like you're emotional, you're on the edge of your seat, you're nail biting, you're like, oh my God, this thing can't go down $1 more or 5 more cents, then maybe you're just in with too many shares. Maybe you have too big of a position size. So my thought to you would be reduce your position size. Trade with a smaller amount if you're feeling that way, and then rebuild up that confidence over time. No one says you have to go in with 100 shares right off the bat. You can go in with 50 shares, 20 shares, 10 shares, 5 shares. You could buy 1 share, right? You could also paper trade. I tell a lot of my community members to paper trade. There's a platform here on WEBULL. It's called paper trading. You could literally click on it, and I'll showcase that to you. And you could paper trade the exact same company that we're watching right now. So I can go to MSTZ, and as you can see, it says paper account P&L, right? I've messed with this over the last month and made $144 trading VRO, ROLOR, and JFBR. Some pre-market trading kind of practice that I've been doing with some momentum stocks, but I haven't been trading it that much. So we could take MSTZ We can literally go 100 shares right now, simulated by, and there we go. We have 100 shares. So then you can actually build up the confidence too. Okay, I'm going to trade with real money with a comfortable amount, but I also want to see what would happen if I put the 100 shares in at this level. I think paper trading is a fantastic way to start practicing. You don't have to risk real money. You don't even have to stress, right? You're literally just following a trade plan. And I think simulation trading is the way to go. And you're seeing it right now, right here with me. You're able to see exactly what I'm doing. So I put myself to a nice little modest account size of about 5,000, right? So I just put $1,700 in the market. I got 3,400 left of buying power. So now I can get more comfortable buying 200 shares, 300 shares, 400 shares for myself, right? So I'm trading a live account with cash, but I'm also trading a simulation account. And there's nothing wrong at any level, whether you're an experienced trader or you're brand new to trading. Paper trading can be a very great resource to use. Okay, now we're down $2. Do you see that? We're down $2, $3 on the paper trading account. Now I can get back into my account, stocks, MSTZ, and all I have to do is just put in my password, and there we go. Right? We have our 20 shares, and we're down 13 cents. We're down 30 cents. So we're not down a huge amount of money compared to 100 shares. And then you could also kind of go back and forth with it, right? Oh, dang, I'm down $5 on 100 shares when I'm only down 50 cents or $1 on 20 shares. I love paper trading and the way that it gives you the access to be able to do it. You can literally learn how to trade with no monetary risk. And that's where I actually recommend people start first. There's no point in losing money and getting a headache and getting stressed out to where you never want to trade again because you went in with $1,000 cash, $5,000 cash, thinking you can double it, losing half, or even losing all of it. It's just unnecessary when you first start out and you are learning to trade. It's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. So, again, 20 shares. I've also been doing something called the kind of blind trade challenge. I guess you can call it that. You guys ever watch Bird Box, where like they had to blindfold themselves and walk around, and the whole movie they were just like kind of walking around blind because they couldn't open their eyes because if they saw something, they would die, or I don't know. It was a weird movie. The point is, um, not looking at your P&L really takes some of that emotion away too. I noticed back even a few weeks ago, a few months ago when I was sharing my P&L, you know, because a lot of times people ask, well, what's your P&L? How much are you up? How much are you down? Which really, in my opinion, shouldn't matter to anyone how much I'm up or down. It should matter how much you're up or down on your trades. But some people like to see it, and I understand that. At the beginning, I used to like watching it go up and down too. But say you're down $50, $100 on a trade. Now you know the trade could go in your favor and you could be up $100 or $200. But because emotionally as humans, we don't want to see a loss. We don't want to lose money, especially when we work really hard to make it, right? Working minimum wage jobs to save up to even have $100 or $200 on its own is hard work, right? So when you're down $100, you're like, man, I don't want to go down anymore. I need to just cut my losses. This trade is going against me. You know, now I'm just watching the charts and waiting for it to go back up to break even. And then once it hits break even, I'm just going to get out of the trade. Right? I'm going to make my money back. And then that can result in you either losing money by taking a loss, watching the charts all day, being stressed out, mentally fatigued and exhausted now, when in reality, just cover it up. As long as your trade plan's going according to your plan, then once it pushes up to somewhere you're comfortable with, or you start seeing it begin to what? Consolidate. We talk about consolidation a lot, to where, okay, now it's up here, it's starting to flatline, and now it's going to sell off, right? We're locking in our profits up here. Okay, trade went in my favor. We're now up 7% on 100 shares. Shoot, that'd be, or even on $1,000, that'd be a nice 70 bucks, right? Even on this small 20 shares, we could potentially make $25. Not saying this is the area I would sell. Actually, it's almost perfectly right where I would want to sell. If Bitcoin begins to sell off more, that's actually kind of right around the mark I'd want to sell. Okay, so it gets up to this level, I sell, and then we can look at the P&L. Okay, cool, I made this much money. But you should never determine when you're going to sell based off of how much you're up or down. Now, if you only want to make 2%, then just know in your head, okay, this needs to push up to right here to make 2%. And then once I have 2%, I'm comfortable with that. I'll lock in 2% and I'll walk away. Right? But if it's showing that it's going in your favor and it's actually not changing direction, you've seen it do this, and it's going up and it's going up and it has some pullbacks and it goes up and it has some pullbacks, then you could follow it very nicely with the trailing stop loss. Keep raising your stop loss higher and then a little bit higher and then a little bit higher and then a little bit higher. So when it does finally come down, boom, your stop loss is way up here. So there's a few different ways you could lock in profits. There's a few different ways to trade. But overall, I like the blind trade challenge where we cover up our P&L. And maybe every once in a while we look at it, okay, I'm up, 3%. Then you could determine, hey, do I add more to my position? Do I get out of my position when direction's not in your favor, right? All morning we've been waiting for this to sell off, recover. And now that it's recovering and going to the upside, now we can start loading up into our position and being more patient. There's no point in buying over here, then buying here, then buying here, then buying here, then buying here. Before you know it, your share price is way up here and you just want to break even. You're like, man, just please go back up to break even. And you wasted a whole day of trading because you bought here. And then you bought some more down here. And you bought some more down here. It's all about being patient, waiting for that opportunity to buy, waiting for direction to be in your favor. It validated this as support. Now I'd love to see this begin to make its way up. It validated this as support, so let's see this begin to go up. If it doesn't, it goes against us, it breaks below this area, then I can have my sell stop ready, which I can showcase to you right now. Now I have a stop loss set up, where now, if it does drop below this moving average of 716, I'll give it a little wiggle room, but 716 would be right on that line. So if it comes down and touches this line, even for a second, I'll get stopped out. Now I could have this stop just a little lower, maybe say 1710, to where, okay, I'm gonna give it a little breathing room. It pushes down to 717, comes down here, comes down here a little bit, comes down, almost touches 717, but then it doesn't, and it begins to push up. Then I know, hey, this didn't touch 717 or 1710. It touched 1711. So you just barely missed the stop loss. It begins to push up, and that's how you can also make some money and keep yourself in a great position to not lose a lot of money, right? If this breaks this moving average, we'll show you the opposite end, pushes up, pushes up, pushes up, consolidates, and then goes below to where there's a massive sell-off, you don't have to take all of this loss and sell down here because we have a stop loss. The second it crosses over this point, we stop out and the trade is over, and we don't have to continue to lose money. So that's a great example of having a good stop loss. And as it pushes up, we just increase our stop loss even higher to where, okay, now our stop loss is at 1730. So now we have a stop. I'm not going to raise it right now because it's at 1732. But now we have a stop loss at 1730. And now it's pushing up even higher. Okay, well now it's up to 18. So now we're in a break-even trade, which means it's risk-free. The worst case that could happen is we break even. We don't lose any money. And that'll also help take away and eliminate some of the emotional side of trading as well. All right, cool. I'm in a potentially $100 profit today trade at no risk at all. If it goes back to my average share price, I walk away and go like this. Oh, the trade didn't work. Okay, I'm out. And then I didn't even lose a single dollar, right? And as it pushes higher, okay, now I'm going to raise my stop loss for profit. Okay, I'm going to raise it again for more profit. Okay, it pushes up, comes down, it doesn't touch my stop loss, and it pushes up even higher. All right, I'm going to raise my stop loss even more. And then as that begins to push up, maybe it starts to consolidate, and before you know it, it breaks that position and it starts to sell off, and that's where you lock in your profits, way up here. So I know I explained that probably 2 or 3 different times, but I want to make sure you guys are aware how to trade, what my thought process behind the trade, etc. So it looks like Bitcoin is pushing up a little higher. I am not going to have my step loss right here at 1710. That was just an example because it looks like it could get stopped out. I want this thing to sell off a little bit more. I want it to come down to 1667 or something like that. Now, if it goes below 1677, okay, cool. I'll take a $10 or $15 loss. But I do believe it can also come down and push back up. Bitcoin's pushing higher, but it doesn't mean it has to push. It doesn't have to continue to go up. It can hit this moving average right here and then completely sell off. It can go back up to this 83,000 or to this moving average of 83.3, and it can begin to get rejected. So I'm going to give this a little bit of time and a little bit of wiggle room to play out. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to share this information with you. I'm excited to be a part of our LTE team. You know, I mean, obviously I'm the one that created this team, but I want you guys to know that I am excited to be here as much as you are all excited to be here as well. So Bitcoin, big push up. I love to see it. We'll see how high up it can actually go. MSTR is having a rough start today and yesterday, very crucial. So we could see this begin to pump. You know, say to 190s. 190 has been an area of resistance. I'd say even like 168s at this point. 170 is an area of resistance. If it pushes up to 170s, we can see some more rejection. Doesn't even mean it has to go back up to those highs. Remember, MSTR has been selling off for a very long time. Even from highs of 457 back in July, it's done nothing but sell off. It's been selling off for over 200 days, and it's down 70%. You don't think there's bag holders right now in this company? There is. There's many bag holders wishing and hoping this thing will just go back up so they can break even. And I do not want to see that for you guys. I don't want you guys to just wish and hope. I want you guys to be confident and understand the positions that you're taking so that way you can make money on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, not just sometimes when the market recovers or sometimes when your trade goes back to break even. So yeah, we're going to end this live stream here. I'll probably buy some more shares as this begins to come down lower because I don't mind shorting a BS company that has no true revenue or really any type of service to sell. It literally just holds Bitcoin. That's all MSTR does. So yeah, appreciate your guys' time. I feel like we had a great live stream. We've been on live for 1 hour and 38 minutes. I was not expecting to go live for so long, but you guys had a lot of questions. I hope I answered them pretty well for you guys. It was a great day to be trading. Guys, go back and watch this from the beginning. If you're just tuning in, then I definitely highly recommend that. That way you guys can get the gist of everything we talked about today. And like always, remember, let's end the year on a green note. And we'll see you all for our Sunday Stock Talk that we host every week. And overall, we'll see you next Monday for our live day trading session at Market Open. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. And we'll see you all later.